Good morning, Internet. How did you sleep last night? As I actually slept quite well. With the recent developments that have been brought to light in 2016, I finally see what the crazy conservatives have been saying all these years. We heard that liberal indoctrination is going to destroy the moral fibers of society over and over again, but you never quite believe it. How can these crazy Bible-thumping morons think that public education is going to degrade the morality of the kids? How is teaching everyone to get along going to make things worse for society? How is trying to make things better and more inclusive going to ruin their levels of comfort? And how dare they want to opt out of the public education system? Well, I guess now I have the answer that I sought. But it's mostly too late. It wasn't until I was personally blamed for slavery by someone I know that I had to take a step back and look at the broader picture. Me, a first-generation immigrant in Canada from the Soviet Union, is getting blamed for slavery in America. And I was at a loss for words. How can something so dumb, so narrow-sighted, and so bigoted come out of someone's mouth? I even tried to explain that Russia had nothing to do with slavery. Though we had our own problems, that historically, black people and Russians didn't clash much, and that one of Russia's most renowned poets from the 1800s was half black and part of Russia's nobility. But none of that matters. None of that will ever matter to people that have been indoctrinated into the system of lies. You could not see past the color of my skin, and therefore, I was part of the oppressing class. I've said before that I believe that schools teach doublethink, or cognitive dissonance, or whatever your preferred term is. And I still stick to it. In the beginning of every year, from elementary school to the last college class I took a few months ago, they drilled in the same simple, broken idea. We do not tolerate intolerance. It's a broken idea, but it's at the root of all social justice. Being intolerant of the intolerant is to be intolerant of yourself. And we see it manifest in every SJW type. It's self-hate. It's why white people sit there and yell, "Fuck white people." It's why neighborhoods full of crime demand the removal of police. It's why black people are demanding segregation after fighting to stop it. And it's why people yell that CEOs are greedy, but demand that they deserve their money instead. It's why rich kids think more taxes will help decrease spending on luxury items, while the poor struggle to eat. It's a broken system. And we now know that it's your education system. So, I have a proposal. It's reform. It's simple reform. Public schools as a last resort. And before things get any worse, and I know this sounds crazy, I want you to go talk to your kids, friends, or your parents. Tell them what you're being taught, or ask them what they're learning about ideology. See if you can find the broken logic and try and repair it. But after that, after you're shocked at the push of liberal ideology and broken logic and historical inaccuracy that they teach, send your kids to private school. Send them to a school that won't teach them ideology, but will teach them logic. Send them to a school that will teach them the law instead of social justice. Send them to a school that will teach them economics instead of wealth redistribution. Send them to a school that will teach them independence and self-reliance instead of relying on the government. And send them to a school that will teach them history so they know how and why people have freedom, so they won't be so quick to give theirs away. And finally, opt out of public education as a first choice, and leave it for what it was always meant to be, a last resort. Thank you, and good night.